It's Halloween week. That means I'm in the mood to talk scary movies. So today I'm going to stop and rank the Jeepers Creepers trilogy from the worst to the best. Hi, my name is Sean and I started this channel because I was driving everyone around me crazy talking about movies way too much. If you can relate, you're probably in the right place and consider clicking that subscribe button. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Share your ranking of the Jeepers Creepers trilogy. My ranking is not the right ranking, it's just my ranking and I would love to see yours. As a point of reference, I saw the first two Jeepers Creepers films when they first came out in the theater, but I haven't rewatched them since and I had never seen the third film until last week in preparation for this video. That's where I'm coming from. I don't really even know the general consensus on the ranking, so I'm very curious to see how the comment section turns out on this one. One final thing before we get started, I've done a whole bunch of horror franchise rankings after this video. If you enjoy my take here, you can find those right up there. If you enjoyed this video, there's something else in there that you'll love, and let's get started. In last place is Jeepers Creepers 3. As I previously mentioned, I hadn't seen this film until last week, and I knew almost nothing about what the film was about, but because of where the second film ended and because there was a 15-year gap between parts 2 and 3, I just kind of assumed that they were going to do the 23-year gap and continue where part 2 left off. No, that's not what this movie does. It picks up where the first movie ended, and we're back in that same feeding time period from the first two films. And because they did that, there were a few interesting ideas in what would the community be like in the aftermath of the original film in trying to resolve all this stuff. And then certainly in the second film, there's some news broadcasts that indicate people are aware that stuff is kind of going on. And so I enjoyed that in this film, we kind of dug into the ramifications of this creature showing up and taking people for 23 days straight. To me, those were by far the best aspects of this film that kind of built out the mythology. Unfortunately, it wasn't a movie that had any characters I really cared about, and it just felt like it was very scattershot and unfocused, that were following all these different groups of people for different reasons. And it didn't fully kind of come together for me in a meaningful way. We're just watching more stuff as if the writer-director had a bunch of more things they want to do with the creeper. Like, I've got this idea about people trying to track him down, and I've got this idea about people being hunted, and I've got this idea for this horrific scene where people are like pulled into the truck and all this truck trapping stuff. People like the truck from the first movie. But it doesn't come together to anything meaningful or impactful by the end of the film. And in fact, there's several sequences where, you have the sheriff guy firing a minigun directly into the creeper, and it's totally ineffectual. And when you have situations where there's literally nothing you can do our characters can't do anything to affect the outcome of the film, it's tough to care about anything that they do because none of it actually matters. And that was kind of my take on this film. There were a couple nice little twists and turns in the last few minutes of how they tied back to the second film. And then, the return of the sister at the end. Nice little Easter eggs. But besides that, in general, just kind of a pretty flat film for me that didn't make much of an impact. Our runner-up is the original Jeepers Creepers. Honestly, parts 1 and 2 are kind of equal to me. Each of them have things that I really enjoy. Each have things that I think could have improved upon. So the thing that I think really stands out in the original film is by far it has the best characters. Of course, you have Justin Long as the lead in it, and he's just a fun actor that feels like a normal person that you would know in real life. So as you put him on this adventure inside of this story, it feels like you're seeing a real person on this horrifying thing being stalked by this demon creature and creepy looking car. And he has a nice back and forth banter with his sister. Likewise, even the way it kind of goes through its story, it slowly ratchets up the weird. So at the beginning, it's just like, why is this creepy car following me? Wait, what is this insane farm? And by the end of it, you've got this demon doing all these crazy things and prophecies. And so it kind of builds up to all the wild and crazy stuff that happens inside of it. And because of this, it's able to kind of touch on several different creepy things. So this one to me is probably the one that kind of creepiest, gets under your skin the most, in the case, certain sense of it, very literally. think for me, what holds this one back is that because it is doing so many different creepy things and it is kind of building up to our demon creature showing up, it feels pretty unfocused, like the director had a bunch of creepy ideas in mind and he just slowly starts going through all those creepy things as the movie unfolds. And so what if there were like these people on this road in the middle of nowhere? What if there were people who discover this farmhouse in the middle of nowhere that had dead bodies in it? What if there's a creepy lady with cats that has prophecies? And so he had all these what ifs and he tried to find the narrative to tie them together. And then even the inclusion of Jeepers Creepers as the song, I've seen the movie a few times now, and I'm not quite sure the importance or significance of its involvement in the story. It just seems like it's a creepy little song. What if we put this in there too? And so it just feels very scattershot to me. And then when you get to the end of the film, as it's trying to tie together these prophecies and this demon creature and what does it all mean, it just feels like the movie's just very suddenly ends. Like, no, it was him. Boop, he's gone. You let him go! And very anticlimactic. That's what I thought when I watched the movie 18 years ago or whatever, and that's what I thought when I rewatched it last week. So it's a movie to me that seems like maybe it just needed to focus itself a little bit more because it had the characters, it had a solid actor in the lead in it, and just certain things frustrated me about it. But in first place for me is Jeepers Creepers 2. Honestly, I have no clue how much of a hot take it is to put the second film in first place. If it's crazy, let me know down below in the comment section. Just don't be too mean to me. Anyway, the reason I put this one in first place is that I just feel like it's by far the most focused of the three films and the one that sticks to a single set of rules. So you have the intro sequence where Creeper takes a child, and so you have this father out for revenge, and then we kick into our main plot line about these kids on the school bus, and the Creeper shows up, clearly wants specific ones of the kids, and so it plays out that storyline while we're kind of waiting to see if this father can show up in time to rescue them. It's clear, it's concise, at any given moment you know what they're trying to accomplish. On the school bus, you have some interesting little dynamics among the character of they're trying to decide what they should and shouldn't do, what may or may not keep them safe. Should they or shouldn't they sacrifice the people that they think may have been selected? Do they know who was selected? So there's some dynamics in that I think worked pretty nicely. And then even with kind of the creature, they introduced not fully weaknesses, but some ways that they can slow it down just a little bit that explains some of what the creature's doing at specific moments, leading to some like nasty stuff when part of its head gets blown off and it eats another head to get fixed and stuff like that. And likewise, it builds to a finale where it feels like the actions of our characters have some consequence on what ends up happening and being able to delay it just enough to be able to make things pass for the time. I much prefer scenarios where things matter as opposed to being totally meaningless. Now, the thing where this one certainly is weaker than the first film is that those high schoolers on the school bus aren't remotely likable. There's no one with kind of a Justin Long everyday average Joe likability to him. None of them are as funny as him. This group of high schoolers is not particularly likable at all, and I think that does significantly hurt the film that they didn't write some of these characters to have something that you actually like about them. Some of them are just unbelievably whiny and complaining. Forces Ray Wise into the role of being the likable character with a motivation that you care about and the person that you want to have some level of success in what he's trying to do. I'm an action movie guy too, so seeing a dad out for revenge and using a post-hole trigger to make this harpoon to shoot a demon and stuff like that. I love all of that kind of stuff. And then even the little tag at the end where he's guarding over the creeper and making $5 a pop to let people see it, just waiting for the day when it returns. Nice little touches. That's the stuff that I connect with a little bit more in these types of films. Thus, for me, this one edges out the original one, even though that one is a little bit creepier for me and does have the better lead. Overall, the second one has a few more things that are more cohesive for me. So it comes in at number 1. If you want to see more horror rankings from me, check out that playlist right over there. I've done almost all of the iconic franchises: Halloween, Friday the 13th, Freddy, Child's Play, Purge, Saw. They're all right over there, plus a whole bunch more. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.